Hello, this is the 238th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Doug Mitchell entitled The Four Carpenters, the Ensign, the Time of Jacob's Trouble, and the First Deliverance. Starting near the top of page 89, we read, "The idea therein is if we are obedient to the truth we already have and not sinning against it, then Jesus' victory over the devil is ours too. Part of the truth that we already have is that we are to ever have our eyes and ears open to the coming of more truth." 1 TG 12.1. The unrolling of the scroll. Brother Hart have stated the importance of being obedient to the truth as the scroll is continually unfolding in the revised version of that same TG 2 TG unrevised 30.18. Let us once and forever realize that the devil is more shrewd than we can imagine. He is not particular what you believe, so long as he can keep you ignorant of revealed truth. 2 TG revised 30.15. There have been many professed Davidians and Adventists who have been working as hard as they can to keep others from even investigating the branch message, or have been those who have been doing so. Thus they have been disobedient to the truth revealed in the rod and Ellen White's writings concerning the investigation of new light, and have also been ignorant of revealed truth because they won't prayerfully investigate the unrolling of the scroll in the branch. That is, those who have been opposing the investigation of the branch message have been encouraging others to look to them and trust their opinions rather than studying the message and relying solely on the Lord to answer the matter for themselves directly. The result is that they have been coming up with numerous private interpretations regarding the four carpenters and how the kingdom will be set up. With these things before us, what does it mean to flee to the valley? We know that in order to receive the complete seal, we must be living the truth. We know and looking for that which we have the opportunity to know. Jesus, as soon as the people of God are sealed in their foreheads, it is not any seal or mark that can be seen, but a settling into the truth both intellectually and spiritually, so they cannot be moved. Just as soon as God's people are sealed and prepared for the shaking, it will come. Indeed, it has begun already. The judgments of God are now upon the land to give us warning, that we may know what is coming. MS 173, 1902, SDA Bible Commentary, Volume 7A, page 171. You notice here that the angels are not told to hold the winds until Ezekiel 9 has all been fulfilled, but until the servants of God are sealed. Therefore, if there is any intervening time between the close of the sealing and the slaughter of Ezekiel 9, there is a possibility that the winds could start blowing during that time. If the nations had everything ready, it would not necessarily take long to bring the trouble. that is represented by the four winds. We do know from this scripture that God will restrain the winds until the sealing is finished. For according to verse 3 of the chapter, a message was sent to the four angels instructing them to hold the winds until the sealing of the 144,000 is finished. It shows that the devil is doing all he can to loose the winds as soon as possible, perhaps even in a day. How serious it is that right now, when God's people should be awake and preparing themselves to receive the seal, that they might be protected in that great and dreadful day, the church instead is deep asleep. If sinners were still among God's people, when the winds start to blow, the church would fall. For while sinners are among God's people, the church cannot stand against her enemies. In other words, were trouble to be brought against the church before the abominations are eliminated, before the unrighteous are taken out of her midst, there is a possibility that the whole church would fall, and that God would have to intervene himself to rescue her. If God's righteous people were separated, it would be different. 11 Symbolic Code 7.8 and 9. Grace, therefore, pardons the sinner, lets him out of prison, so to speak, and gives him another chance to overcome sin. But faith keeps him free. The sum of the matter is this: righteousness through grace is righteousness through pardon, while righteousness through faith is righteousness through behaving, and it is crowned with the righteousness of Christ. 2 TG 39.8. True righteousness through behaving, as the exercise of faith, is dependent upon having the correct understanding of what is the correct behavior. That is, what are the Lord's commandments? As the Reformation consists of first casting out the abomination, then restoring the truth, the correct behavior, the faith which was once delivered unto the saints, cannot be truly performed until that which was supplanted by the abomination has been restored. While Brother Hardiff spoke of the restoration of the feast days, including the Lord's Supper, that were taken away from the early church, he did not receive the call to actually restore any of them. Thus, though he brought before us many things that constitute the Christian standard in which we are to walk, behave in faith, it wasn't until Brother Roden was called to reinstitute the feasts, etc., that the church had the God-given means to attain to the true righteousness by faith, behaving, that will bring the righteousness of Christ. Besides this vivid illustration, inspiration through the prophet Daniel reveals that the sanctuary is to be cleansed, not only from sinners, but from doctrinal error too. For one angel inquired, Daniel 8:13, verse 14 and 17, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Understand, O Son of Man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. The daily, the desolation, also the sanctuary, and the host pertain both to the doctrines and the people. Both are to be cleansed. 2 TG 42.32. With the valley thus made, i.e. the hindrances and obstacles, the abomination thus removed,